Sure. It's probably not a bad idea.
Are we on mute anyway, so I can say whatever the I want?
We're not on mute.
Oh, okay.
Kimberly Kessler, a female with numerous aliases, faced charges of first-degree homicide in May 2018. The announcement revealed that Jolene Cummings, a mother to 3 children, had vanished, yet her remains were never found. Nonetheless, in December, a panel of jurors determined Kessler's accountability for the demise and declared her culpable. However, certain inconsistencies existed.
I want to get rid of the public defender's office. Yeah, exactly. Jordan Beard is Johnson's nephew. Jordan Beard is Jolie's cousin.
Nonetheless, Judge James Daniel dismissed the arguments and declared the penalty would proceed irrespective of its necessity. Initially, court determined that Kessler didn't possess the mental competence for trial, but later specified that she could grasp the accusations directed at her. Kessler declined participation in the trial and instigated several disruptions within the courtroom.
Will you remain here much longer?
We may want to put her on mute while we finish this. Good.
It's fine.
Let's just put me back on myself.
Ma'am, come back.
Jordan Beard, Jolene Cummings, no!
Kimberly Kessler was deemed culpable for the homicide of Jolene Cummings and will endure a lifetime in prison for this transgression without any chance of parole. I've been guaranteed she'll be on the initial bus departing the city tomorrow, and upon her exit, we'll celebrate with cake and ice cream. The sole plausible justification is the defendant's guilt. Marty Fuller faced apprehension for an array of accusations: premeditated first-degree murder, attempted premeditated first-degree murder, and armed break-in. Fuller was accountable for the gunfire that led to the demise of his 15-year-old former partner, Kaylee Juga, and the severe harm inflicted upon her mother, Stephanie Juga.
Martise Fuller broke down after a jury found him guilty of killing Kaylee Juga and attempting to kill her mother, Stephanie, in May 2019.
Per the prosecution's claim, Philip attributed the cause of his expulsion from school and the removal from the football squad to Kaylee and her mother.
The gun because Dontrell Seymour led them to it in a sewer in Racine County.
The prosecution cited Fuller's in-depth familiarity with the Juga residents and Kaylee's everyday habits within their home. Kaylee perished immediately upon sustaining 5 bullet injuries.
Now I'm lost. I just feel so lost without her.
Moreover, her mother Stephanie definitely recognized Fuller as the individual she encountered on her home's upper level and who subsequently shot her while she sought concealment. Stephanie later found Kaylee lifeless on her bedroom floor. The magistrate imposed a life sentence for Juga's murder. Furthermore, Fuller faced an additional count of battery by detainees due to his involvement in illicit activity while incarcerated.
Before this court with a damaged childhood. You don't have a history of mental illness. I don't have any ability to trust that you will never commit these acts. You are a very dangerous and a damaged human being.
I cried openly when I read Nick Juga's letter. I did that because this is a man who has spent his entire professional life protecting this country and protecting all of us as individuals.
The Darrell Brooks case captivated attention as the crime was atrocious, but it wasn't the only element shocking the adjacent witnesses.
Interruptions and disruption.
6 fatalities occurred and countless injuries ensued from this disaster. Nonetheless, his behavior inside and outside the court was similarly terrifying.
Hands up! Hands back! Whoa! Hands up! Hands up!
The prosecution presented evidence that Brooks deliberately steered into the throng. In a legal accusation, a policeman reportedly stated that when he positioned himself before Brooks' car and ordered him to halt, Brooks merely stared directly at him, displaying no discernible emotion in his visage.
Do you know why the vehicle was beeping its horn?
I imagine that the driver was angry and wanted to get through the crowd.
Prior to the brutality, Brooks endorsed employing aggression against law enforcement and white persons on his social media profiles. As per accounts, Brooks purportedly labeled himself a terrorist and a murderer within his municipality.
I got one ear that work and I heard that.
This is to benefit you so that you understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit me, so let's
has
be clear
a
about
prior.
that.
Following a pair of days featuring statements from affected parties and relatives, Judge Jennifer Darrow mandated a compulsory penalty for Darrell Brooks. He received a life term devoid of any chance for parole.
Frankly, Mr. Brooks, no one is safe from you. This community can only be safe if you are behind bars for the rest of your life.
Cloud Tex MacGyver age 79, stands accused of felony slaying associated with Diane McIver's fatality, and risks receiving a life imprisonment sentence.
The court saying that the jurors should have been able to consider a lesser charge and that they heard evidence that they shouldn't have. There was never any dispute that McIver shot his wife. The question at trial was whether he meant to.
On the night of September 25, 2016, a confident Diane McIver steered the pair's Ford Expedition. The trio journeyed back from the McIver's equestrian estate. En route, Carter detoured into downtown Atlanta to bypass highway congestion, and shortly thereafter, McIver discharged the firearm, striking his spouse in the rear of her cranium.
But if I might just say to her directly, because I know she's here, I feel her presence as I'm speaking these words. Darling, you have brought me more joy and fulfillment that few men on this earth have ever known. Thank you, and until we are together again.
In June 2022, the Georgia Supreme Court reversed the murder verdict, asserting that the jurors should have been offered the chance to accuse him of the minor offense of misdemeanor involuntary manslaughter. The Supreme Court refrained from invalidating his conviction for tampering with a witness. Despite revoking several prior convictions, Claudex McIver was deemed culpable in 2018 for felony homicide related to his spouse, Diane McIver's death. He ultimately confronted the life imprisonment penalty.
I didn't ever hear you say you're sorry for what you did. To me, that silence speaks volumes.
The verdict reads, we the jury find the defendant Kevin Dean Eastman guilty of murder in the first degree after deliberation.
The Greeley-based individual, Eastman, accused of killing 2 people in 2020, one being a prominent trumpet performer within the Greeley vicinity. He was a fixture in the Denver ensemble, the Movers and Shakers. Per the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, Stanley Scott Sessions' remains were found on February 10, 2020 in Bellevue.
Scotty in the brass section brought a smile to the faces of band members and countless audiences. He brought a whole new dimension to our stage and our performances. He would take an ordinary song and light it up. It became extraordinary when Scotty played it. There was a profound empty spot on the stage of our performance on February 10th, 2020. And that spot will forever remain empty on our stage.
A mere 6 days post-Sessions' demise, Eastman faced detainment related to the occurrence, and a search warrant was executed at the dwelling during the investigation. Astonishingly, during the resident's search, deputies located Heather Frank's cadaver. Following an almost 3-week trial, Kevin Eastman was declared culpable.
We the jury find the defendant Kevin Dean Eastman guilty of tampering with physical evidence.
The verdict established his accountability for dual instances of first-degree homicide, a pair of counts involving meddling with human remains, and 2 instances of tampering with tangible proof.
The court is going to sentence you to a life sentence in the Colorado Department of Corrections without the possibility of parole.
Judge Marcelo Kopkow from the Weld District Court imposed on Eastman 2 successful life terms plus an additional 27 years under the Colorado Department of Corrections supervision. He won't be released in the near future.